Welcome back to Switch to Linux. Well, today we are going to have a quick look at how to harden Firefox. There's this giant browser wars going on, and different people have different opinions about all the different browsers. And as much as I have spoken out about some of the issues going on inside of Mozilla at times, I think that Firefox still has one of the greatest potential because it does have a massive amount of customization that you can do to it. And it actually has the ability, it's open source, all those types of things as well. So what we're actually going to do here today is do a guide that I've found some guides, but some of them are pretty old. So some of the things here might not actually be here anymore. I just created the guide prior to starting the stream, and if this works, this will be the final video. If it doesn't work, we're going to scratch this one and just go with another video when I have a chance to browse through everything. So let's go ahead and we're just going to go ahead and harden Firefox on my system here. I don't think it's been hardened. There might be a few things of these that are already done. Just because once I got this system installed, I really haven't used Firefox much at all, and just occasionally doing things. There's actually a few of these steps I'm going to recommend that are actually I'm not doing on this because of what I use this for is doing the Google Hangouts. So I actually am saving some passwords, which you shouldn't do if you're using it as your daily browser. But we'll go ahead and do the best that we can through this. So when we are getting into hardening Firefox, the first thing we want to do is look at different plugins. Now, I use a ad blocking script that's deployed across my whole network, so that's why I generally don't use different plugins and add-ons and things. But what we're going to go ahead and do is we'll go ahead and add some. So we can actually search for add-ons up here, and there's three that we want to look at. We want to look at uBlock origins. Now, uBlock is such a popular one that there are a lot of fake ones that look like uBlock. And so the one you want is the Raymond Hill version. So we're going to go ahead and add this to Firefox. We're going to go ahead and add it. And then we're also going to add Privacy Badger. Now, the advantage of using something like uBlock is you have the ability, so if you like to support different YouTube creators like myself or any other YouTube creators, you can actually go onto their specific pages or onto YouTube itself and just say, hey, turn off or turn off uBlock on this one, so that the ads will run and you can support your creators with ads, but then you can keep it on for all of the rest of the websites. So Privacy Badger is from EFS. So what Privacy Badger is going to do is this blocks a lot of the trackers that different companies are going to use in order to track what you're doing on the internet. So that's actually going to go a long way towards blocking a lot of things. And the other one that you want to use is HTTPS everywhere. So a lot of sites now have the HTTPS option, and a lot of sites now have an SSL installed on them because of Let's Encrypt. But a lot of web developers don't even know how to properly configure it, and so they'll be on, but they're not forcing it and all these types of things. What HTTPS is going to do is it's going to probe any server that you look at, and if an SSL is available and installed, it will force all traffic through that. So that will basically it will break your it will fix your broken padlocks. So those three plugins there are your big plugins. We're not going to go through how to configure those. You can find separate videos. This will tell you how many requests. You can go into your customized settings and filter out certain videos. There's some, you can click on the information here as to how this protects you. You can set on your different signals on or off over here. So we're not going to go into exactly how to use those because this video is going to be long enough and you can do the individual searches. If there's enough requests, I'll go back through and do another video about specifically how to use those. Our next area we're going to go is we want to go into what used to be called our options. Now we have is our preferences. So here we have a lot of different options that we want to do. The first thing that we would like to do is we want to, and this is the part where they keep changing this on me, so I don't remember all of my details. When we open up a new tab, what do we want to open up our tab to? You want to make sure that you are opened up to a blank window. So we're going to go ahead and come over here. So I have it opening up to start page right away. So the problem with opening up to your favorite search engine like start page like I have here is that every single time you load a new window or a new tab, then it is actually going to go ahead and ping that server, and that server can identify that. So we don't want to do that. So we're going to set this to blank page on everything. So now every time I load up a new tab, we are going to have a blank page. All right. There's other options we can have here. We're going to go down to privacy and security. So down here, there's been some extra additions into this that we'll be able to fix over here, but we're also going to be going into the about config. So we have standard, we have strict, we have custom, so you can choose what you're doing. So under your cookies, now I like setting the custom because it gives you more granular control. On this, you can do all cookies, you can do all so this is things to block now. This used to be different, in which it would say, what do you want to do? So now we're going to block. If you block all cookies, many first site parties won't use. So I have it set to block any third-party cookies. There's also any cross-site and social media trackers as well. And there's cookies from unvisited websites. So what we're going to do is keep it set there. I don't think I can set multiples. So we're going to go ahead and keep it on block all third-party cookies, which is going to include cookies from unvisited sites, and it's going to include this. This basically means any cookie that is set by a domain that is not on the primary domain you are on. Now, this actually breaks some banking systems. PNC made a change to their online banking not long ago, where they're actually using critical functions of their system are now a part of third-party cookies. It is the most ridiculously stupid thing ever, and it was one of the contributing factors as to why I stopped doing business with PNC. Now, tracking content, we're going to block tracking content. This says only in private windows. No, we want to block tracking content in all windows. We're going to block all crypto miners, and we're going to also block fingerprints. All right, fingerprinting is the ability to, see what your browser is and things like this. Now, we're going to go ahead and reload all tabs. That is going to reset all of our options. All right, so let's see, cookies and site data. The ideal thing to do is to delete cookies and site data when Firefox is closed. So we're going to go ahead and do this. You can clear all data right now. So you can see I have 11 megabytes of cache web content and 421 kilobytes of site data. So we're going to go ahead and clear all that. So we'll go ahead and clear it and then delete cookies when Firefox is closed. So this is going to close everything that you are doing. All right, logins and passwords. Ask to save. No, we never want to save any passwords. All right, this is things I had this turned on for the purpose of using the Google Hangouts, but we're going to stop doing that. I'm going to try using Chromium for a while, see if that works. And then show alerts about passwords for breached sites. This is actually a new feature. I'm not familiar with what that one is. Let's go ahead and keep this on for now. This is a brand new thing. Autofill addresses, absolutely not. We do not want to do anything. If I clicked on this, it might actually show sensitive content. We're not going to. I'm pretty sure it will not have any data there, but we don't want to do this. And then clear history when Firefox closes to make sure there's never any history being stored. All right, address bar. When using the address bar, suggest browsing history, bookmarks, open tabs. Browsing history is okay. Bookmarks is okay. Particularly since our browsing history is closed, we're not going to see things. This is when using the address bar. And there are also a separate place for search engines. We're going to get to that in a second. We have block pop-up windows, correct. Warn when sites try to give add-ons, correct. And let's go ahead and look at the search engine changes. So it says show search suggestions. We want to turn this off. The reason we want to turn this guy off is because this will, anytime you're using your search bar up here, is it's automatically sending data back to that server. Now, I'm using start page. That shouldn't be a big deal, but if you're using something else, that could be a big deal. I'm going to kill, I don't know why Yahoo's on there. I like killing that. I do actually keep Google around just in case I need it. I usually use start page as my default. DuckDuckGo, I might switch to DuckDuckGo sometime in the future. I'm still looking into what went on with the Start Page acquisition with the data analytics company. So we're going to be looking into some of that stuff there as well. So that is everything here. And of course, don't use a Firefox account. Even though Firefox, it's, everything is allegedly encrypted. And if you are going to use an online sync account, this is probably the safer one to use. But still, I don't think it's worth using a Firefox account. And by the way, while we're on this topic, somebody has reported that you could no longer transfer your profiles from Firefox. I did not have that experience. I was actually able to transfer my profiles over from my old system. I tested that out just to double check it, and I did it from an Arch system to another new Arch system. So I do know I had the latest versions of Firefox. I was able to transfer it. So you can't just transfer the profile name. You have to transfer the whole .mozilla folder. Or if you are transferring the profile name, you have to change the configuration settings to use the new profile. I did not have any prompts that required me to use sync to transfer all my data over. So that's something that has come up. All right, so the next place we're going to go is there is the big scary one that is called about config. So it's about :config. This is where most of our hardening occurs. It tells you this might void your warranty. I don't know why they say warranty. But yes, you can actually break your Firefox instance by messing with these things. You can actually see that, yeah, apparently there are some things I've modified. Anything that has been modified has already been toggled in here. So apparently I've already done some things, or maybe something else I did some of those as well. But what we're going to do is we're just going to walk through a ton of different settings here. So the first one is WebRTC. Now, if you're using Netflix or something that requires that DRM stuff, you're going to want to keep this turned on. The danger with this is that, so it's called media, peer connection and .enabled. Okay, so that's this one here. So right now it's enabled, and this basically says that our DRM is enabled. This, even if you are using a VPN and even if you have geolocation turned off, this will enable whoever is controlling that final content. It will enable them to to see your IP address. So we're going to double click on this. That'll toggle it over to false, and that turns off DRM. Now, you will not be able to watch anything that requires DRM, so be aware of that. So that's a decision you need to make. For me, I don't watch Netflix. There's nothing else I would use DRM for on this particular computer, so we are absolutely going to disable it. Now, the other one that there is a setting for, but it's always, if there is an option to do it inside of your about config, you always want to do it in here. This is your fingerprinting. So if we do, it's called resist fingerprinting. Privacy resist fingerprinting. So this is the one here. So privacy resist fingerprinting, we want to make sure that this is set to true. So what this is going to do is it's going to block out as much of the attempts to figure out which browser is your actual browser. All right, there is another one that I did not know much about this one, but I did actually look it up, and I did find several security articles. So this is related to an old 3DES cipher, which is apparently insecure. And so what we want to do is we want to disable it. So this is RSA_DES_EDE3C. We want to disable this one. There is apparently a lot of security vulnerabilities in this particular cipher, and so disabling it will prevent it from being used, and that will actually help harden your system. And then while we're on to security, we want to go ahead and make sure that we are only using safe negotiations. So it's security.ssl.require safe negotiation. Toggle this guy to true. And then there's more in SSLs. This is actually a TLS.version. So there's different versions of TLS. You can see that our version for TLS is 1. We want to change this to 3. This was going to prevent you from using old, depreciated, insecure versions of TLS to connect. So it's going to require the version 3, which is going to be much safer. So the next thing we are going to look at is form fill. Again, this is something we've already disabled in the settings, but you always want to disable things in the about config if possible. I got to fill it in right. It is called browser form fill enabled. You can see this has already been toggled to false. Excuse me. I have it written in my notes here, toggle to true. That's not right. I was confusing myself. He's toggled to false. So browser form fill enable, turn this to false. So it does actually appear that the settings in Mozilla are now actually changing the config settings. So that's actually good. I was not completely sure about that, but that's actually a good thing. The next is disabling geolocation. So geo.enabled. This will allow any website to see where geolocation is based on your IP address. Turn this guy to false. Now they will not be able to see where you are. All right, next is telemetry. Are we fun with telemetry? So there is a ton of telemetry here. So we have browser dot new tab page dot activity stream. Man, there's so many of these. Activity stream dot feeds dot telemetry. Okay, so this guy here, this is one of the telemetry. You can see that it says telemetry there. We're going to toggle this guy off. We're going to do a browser ping center dot telemetry. We're going to turn this guy off. So that's going to be a telemetry ping. We have DevTools dot onboarding telemetry logged. Not sure why that was set to okay, so I guess that one's just always on. So we're going to turn that one off to false. All right, media dot WMF. This one looks like it may not be there anymore. Media.wmf, that one's no longer there, so we're gonna kill that one from my list. I'm gonna make this list available here when we're done. All right, now there's a whole lot of these toolkit.telemetries. Yeah, we have a whole lot of .telemetries. Basically, if it's a toolkit.telemetry enabled, we are generally going to disable it. So I actually have like about 8 or 10 of these actually on my list. I'm just going to pretty much kill all of the telemetry stuff. This one here already says telemetry enabled is set to false. So we're going to leave that one alone. Cancel that one. I should probably just look at my exact list. So Toolkit telemetry rejected, true. Toolkit telemetry server. We can actually kill this server if we want. That'll kind of, if something does get turned back on, that won't know where to send it to. All right, so we're just basically going to turn off all the telemetry inside of there. All right, so the next one is DNS prefetching. This one was another one I had to look up. And I was terrified the more I started looking it up. So this is called network DNS disable prefetch. You can see here, network disable prefetch. This is actually set to true. This actually is a setting. So I must have either changed this before or something in our settings does this. So when you load a page, if the page has certain headers set, then the website will actually go ahead and start loading the next website, anticipating what you're going to do. So setting this to true prevents you from doing that. And then there is another one that you want to look at, which is called network prefetch next. And you want to make sure that this is set to false, which again, it is already set, so we don't need to do that. The other one is a referrer. So this will tell a website where you came from. So this is the network HTTP send referrer header. All right. And this guy here, I'm not sure why we have a value on that. This guy, let's go ahead and just set that to 0. We're going to double check that. This one here, actually, we're going to go ahead and reset this to the value. I was expecting a true false on that one. So I'm going to pull this one out of the list. I'll have to look into that a little bit more later, but if that's my only critical error, then I'm not going to delay the video on that one. Okay, so disable notifications. This is my favorite. Notifications suck. As even Mozilla figured out, they're like, we did this massive study and found out that, holy crap, people don't like notifications. No kidding. dom.webnotifications.enabled, toggle that over to false, and you will never see another notification again. All right, and there we have it, folks. We have just hardened Firefox. So now when we go and use Firefox, we should get no pop-up notifications. Let me actually go to... Let me find a site that I usually says notifications. I don't know. I'm not seeing any notifications yet here. But basically, we will have disabled all notifications. We have disabled a lot of our different tracking. We put in privacy browser. It's going to block all this different script. And HTTPS everywhere. We've put in an ad blocker, which you can control, and I would recommend going ahead and the contents you want to support, disable the ad blocker on those individual pages. But there you have hardened Firefox. That's why Firefox, despite Mozilla doing some goofy things at times, Firefox still is a good browser with a lot of options, and I think it is still definitely a good browser to use. So those are my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts on hardening Firefox in the comments down below.